big week of the Ultimate Buckeyes coming at you next. What's going on, everybody? Another week, another Buckeye W, man. Dustin, man, how you been, man? How you been?
I've been great. Been great, man. Good to be with you. Where am I at this week, or where was I at last week?
Well, last week you was Charlotte, East Carolina. How was the game? I seen Charlotte kind of put it on them, right?
Put it on them, to say the least. I mean, it was a wrap, dude. Like, ECU came in. Not that anybody cares about this. They were like, I think they were like 6-point favorites or something like that, or maybe even higher than that. And Charlotte just waxed them like 55-20. So
does it get boring in them type of games to you? Like when you
does it get boring? No, it doesn't get boring. Especially when there's big plays. Like big exciting plays makes it more fun to just sort of at least you have actions. As opposed to like an old school game where it's just a ton of punts and turnovers and just ugly stuff happening. Yeah, no, it's a lot better.
Well, I was in Northwestern, and Northwestern need to really consider keeping they little state. I know it only tolls 12,000 on their little lake thing, but it's beautiful, man. I walked down there. I got there at about 8 o'clock, which is because we started 9 Central, so about 8 o'clock. And it was like, man, this is nice. It's a nice little vibe, nice little setting that they got here for it to be temporary. Obviously, they lost that game to Indiana. I wasn't expecting them to win, but just the overall experience was nice. But let's get to the reason why people are here. Buckeyes, obviously, they played Iowa last week, and it went about the way I kind of figured it would be. Very seldomly does a team that runs the ball, that has a star running back, just comes in and just runs for 200 yards on the Buckeyes. It's happened. Don't get me wrong. It's happened. But usually when the defense is that good, they do a great job of taking away the number one guy. And for all the stuff that Caleb Johnson was talking, he wrote a check that he couldn't cash. And you could see that obviously the players for Ohio State kind of heard the stuff that he was saying, because they kept trash talking him a lot. I mean, everybody was trash talking him, and I love to see it. I think he finished the game with a touchdown, but he had under 100 yards. I mean, this is a guy that was coming off of a 200-yard rushing game, and he was a non-factor. And I think they did a really good job of tackling in that game. They were very physical, dominant. I knew that they had to be gap disciplined, and for the most part, these guys stayed in their gap. Had a lot of TFLs and things like that, and obviously the big test is this week, but I was very impressed with what I seen, from them in Iowa. The only thing that gets to me about this Buckeye team is that for some odd reason, it seems like they just don't start fast. Like you think about the games, I think they only had one game where they for 4 quarters just looked dominant.
Why can't they do what they did in the second half in the first half?
That's what I want to know. Like, now don't get me wrong. Like, checks and adjustments play a part into it all. You got to see what they're doing, and halftime comes around, you can really get with the guys and really, talk about some of the changes you need to make and some of the things that they're doing. Sure. But like, it's to me, like, obviously when they play Oregon this week, which we'll talk about in a minute, but like Oregon starts. They got some moments where they start fast, but they start kind of slow too. And then they kind of pull away with it in the second half. So to me, they got to really figure that part out, because Akron, they started slow. Iowa, they started slow. Michigan State, they started slow. And it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's not like they're giving up points or anything like that, but like, I just want them to play dominant for 4 quarters. And I think in the setting going on the road to Oregon, I think they got no choice but to do it this week.
No, this is it. And, the thing that I'd like to talk about a little bit more, maybe this week specifically, as opposed to some other weeks, is that, this game's on the road, right? I mean, this is a very, very difficult place to play. I've never played there.
Me either.
No guys that have played for Oregon, no guys that have played at Oregon. I mean, it's going to be a hype environment. This may be one of the biggest games they've had at home there in quite some time. And I guess my thoughts are, are the Ohio State players ready for this moment? Because they've just kind of not sleptwalked through the first 5 games of the year, but I mean, they haven't been challenged really at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
And they've been challenged in like a drive or a quarter, but there's been nothing like overall that has really,
Well, the
challenged
thing,
a high school. Yeah.
it's funny that you say that because it makes me think about Will Howard. Will
Mhm.
Howard, obviously he played in the Big 12, but he's never played a game to this magnitude. I mean, his biggest game was against Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, and Alabama kind of steamrolled them. But like to be number 2, be on a number 2 team playing a number 3 team, like in their place with that
Mhm.
environment, he's never had that in his career. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in this game. I think that's the one thing that everybody kind of wants to see. It's hard to tell if, like, don't get me wrong, he's played really well. I mean, he's had some what are you doing interceptions, but outside of that, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. But you never you don't get judged off of those games. You get judged off of games like this, and Dylan Gabriel, he's obviously this 6 year in college or something like that.
Yeah, I
He's
mean, I remember
third
he
on,
was at UCF way back in the day.
and this is his 3rd year. I mean, not his 3rd year. He's number 3 on the all touchdown passing list. So like he's gonna sling the ball, and it's gonna be a test there. And I'm interested to see how Will plays.
Mhm.
That to me is the question mark.
No, I think it's a very fair, valid question. Is how will he play in this game? This is good. Oregon's a team that in the past has been known for offense and being flashy with like the Chip Kelly offense, and then of course it carried over into Helfrich for a little while too, as they had Marcus Mariota. But it's now become more defensive centric if you watch them, and it really comes from Dan Lanning's history as a defensive guy. He played linebacker at a small school, but I mean, he was the defensive coordinator at Oregon, or excuse me, defensive coordinator at Georgia before he got the gig at Oregon, and did a heck of a job with those guys. So like he'll have to draw back upon his experiences at Georgia, playing like these big time top 5 matchups. Maybe he was at GA at Alabama for a second too.
Mm-hmm.
But which is also interesting because he did not go back to Alabama with this
and
most
they, and
recent
they
run.
wanted him. They sure
They
wanted him.
did. But with that being said, I mean, what's like the craziest on the road toughest environment you played in?
Ooh, obviously Happy Valley always comes to mind.
Mhm.
They're very passionate about Penn State and with the blowhorns and all of those things in the middle of the night. So that one was crazy. I tell you what, when we played Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, obviously they had more. It was close, but I'd say they had more fans there. That was a very crazy environment. That to me was like the best college environment outside of like Penn State, but like having like a neutral, allegedly quote unquote neutral site, even though they obviously overwhelmed it. I really love playing Alabama in the Sugar Bowl to hear those fans from them and from us and stuff like that. So to me, that Sugar Bowl was the best environment.
Yeah, I would say for me, probably Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin. We didn't. I'm trying to think. We didn't really play any out of conference games on the road that were that crazy. Yeah, no, we really did not. Like to start the season.
You was gone before the Texas and the USC.
No, we didn't have any of that. Notre Dame, we didn't play Notre Dame.
I played them in the Fiesta Bowl, so I didn't. And we beat that one. We beat the heck out of them. So, no, yeah, I think I tell you what the thing that's interesting about Oregon that's going under the radar is I learned this today by listening to Chip Kelly talk. They have 9 starters on their defense that's like veteran guys. So like that to me, and I'm talking like these guys are like 4th, 5th year, 6-year guys, that's on the defense that makes plays. They got that Jordan Birch guy who the DN who had a heck of, I think he had 2.5 sacks last game. So that's somebody that this offensive line is going to have to deal with. And I got to get offensive line credit because coming into the season, that was one of the big question marks, what this offensive line was going to look like, especially after the Akron game where they couldn't really open up the gaps for these running backs and stuff. They've really stepped it up, and I think they peaking at the right moment. Personally, as much as we talk about how good this Oregon team is supposed to be, I still personally think Ohio State just wipes the floor with them and wins by 14 plus. But we'll talk about that later in the show. But what I want to ask you is both coaches, obviously, Dan Lanning has been really good at Oregon, lost twice in the Pac-12 championship to Washington. So that kind of dampened him a little bit. Ryan Day, obviously, the history of Ryan Day. He's lost some games as well, some big ones well. Which coach would you say needs to win more? Now, let me remind you, Dan Lanning didn't go to the Alabama, and they really, really wanted him. So, with that being said, who you got?
Yeah, well, yeah. To me, I mean, it's a no-brainer. That's Ryan Day. This is a huge matchup early in the season where coming into the year, it's kind of crazy, but he is by Ohio State fan standards, like on the hot seat to some degree. Even though it's kind of silly because I don't even have any idea who you think you would get.
That's the big question.
So to me, it's pretty wild to think about that, but no, nonetheless, I think there's more pressure on Ryan Day. I mean, Dan Lanning's been at Oregon for what, like 2 seconds? He's been there since 22. Okay, and so with that being said, he was already offered the job at Alabama. You pointed that out.
Yeah,
and in terms of the other things, like he stayed at Oregon, like he stayed at Oregon. He could have left. So I don't know how there'd be pressure on him. I mean, he hasn't even had a top 5 matchup since he's been at Oregon. So this would be his first time with that at Oregon.
You don't think that this game plays a factor in recruiting? Because think about it, it's a number 1 receiver that committed to them over the Buckeyes, and and they can't beat the Buckeyes.
Nah, dude. I hear exactly what you're saying, and it does affect recruiting. For sure, affect recruiting. But, as long as Oregon doesn't get blown out, like no one's going to be like, man, Dan Lanning sucks as a coach. If Ohio State gets blown out, it's a totally different animal.
If Ohio State gets blown out, that I don't even want to go down that road because didn't the last time we played them, when they came here and they beat us? I feel like it was only a touchdown, but I feel like in there watching the game, it seemed like it was much more than that. But I can't imagine us losing. I mean, I do agree, but I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It's just the loss doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who really loses this game because you went out, you still going to the Big Ten championship anyway. So it's like the CFP watered the new CFP watered it all down to me where like, yeah, you want to win and all those things, but if you do lose, like it's not detrimental. It's not like you can't still go to the Big Ten championship and win it and still get the first round bye and all those things. So that part to me bothers me a little bit. I just don't see Ohio State losing to Oregon. I really don't. I watch the tape, I look at it, and I'm just like, it's nice, it's fine. Oregon's offense is nice, it's fine, but like, I don't see it. And I know people are talking.
Well, their offense has come to life for the last couple of weeks. Like it was.
Yeah, really the offensive line is finally gelling and all of those things, and they do some nice RPOs and stuff like that, which is very tricky on the defense. If people don't know, RPOs, run pass options. When they do that thing where they fake it to the running back and get that linebacker to step up and the quarterback pulls it and they run that slant behind them. Like that's tough, especially if you're a zone team. If you're in man, you could get away with it. It won't bother you as much, which we run a lot of man here. But if they run zone and they do that can be tricky. So, I mean, yeah, that's nice and all. But at the end of the day, maybe I'm just naive. Like I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I think that this game is overblown. I think it's overhyped. I do think the Buckeyes even though this stat is like it's only like the teams traveling from coast to coast, it's like 1-6 on the season in the Big Ten. They like 1-6. So like that's the big thing. But like the travel, if you do it right, it don't matter. Like your mind should be right for the game, your body should be right for the game. Have you ever had to travel like,
West Coast?
Yeah.
I did.
Not in college. You did it in the league, right?
No, college. We played UCLA at the Rose Bowl my freshman year.
Oh, really? Must be nice.
We did.
I've never been to the Rose.
Cool.
I'm going to UCLA this weekend, so I'll see it. But that's nice.
It's just a long way to go for a game.
Did y'all leave on Thursday or Friday?
We left on Thursday.
See, that's
left on Thursday.
See, yeah. I think that they're leaving on Friday here, which I think is a mistake, but I'm not,
I don't know. I mean, how you would do that? Like to leave on a Friday? To me, that's not enough rest time. Now it is a night game on Saturday night. I say that. So if you leave Friday morning,
it's 4:30 there.
You have a little time to, right?
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm sorry, Dustin. You don't think this game is overblown? You really believe that Oregon is like that?
I think they're a good team and their defense is really good. The question is, how's their secondary? Because their secondary has been the one area that they can exploit, and they're going to face two receivers this week in this game that are as good as they're going to see all year. They're way better.
I get you that, but also if you're going up against the guys you're going up against in practice, you should be fine in that situation. But I will say,
I'm sorry, I'm talking about Oregon's defensive backs. I think Ohio. No, I'm sorry. I think the front seven of Oregon's really, really good. But I think that their secondary has a lot to be desired, and there's going to be some opportunities for the Buckeyes to take some shots down the field, especially with Smith and Abuka.
So you think they win this game by passing? Because I'm more on the other side. I thought they were just run the two running backs, because I think that's just kind of what's been their thing. They've been trying to really get those two running backs going, and then they work the pass off of that. And I just the way those two guys is running the ball right now, I just don't really see them stopping that like that. Don't get me wrong. Like that was because that's always been the stereotype. Like even when we played Oregon in the championship back when I was playing, that was the one thing we said, like, it's a finesse team. Like,
yeah.
We're gonna be
when you listen, when you get that many different uniform combinations, there's gonna be a little something finesse about somebody.
Yeah.
I'm saying you're recruiting a certain type of kid. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I just, but they fixed that stereotype, And actually, the last couple the national championship, I did have respect for them because they running backs ran the ball hard, and I thought that they defensively, they came up and did some nice tackling and stuff like that. When we played them last, when they came to the shoe and beat us, I mean, they just completely out physicaled us, and our defense was atrocious. We couldn't crack replace to save our life, and it just
crack replace.
Hey, can you believe that? That was the thing. We had corners that just didn't know how to crack replace, and they just kept leaving the outside open. And this dude ran the same play 3 times and scored every time. And he had I swear he had over 200 yards rushing. So long as I don't see that happening is my point. Even though they got a good running back, Jordan James is a good running back. He's running the ball pretty hard. Nice little balanced guy. But I just and I always feel like they players is small. Like when you look at their line and stuff, I just feel like they be undersized. Not saying that's a knock.
Yeah, I think you're kind of right about that. Maybe it's just our opinion of what they are or who they are or whatever. But I don't know. I don't ever picture Oregon being like this tough team, and I could be totally off base with that. That's just
when they beat us the last time, they were more physical than I would have imagined. But now it's not like
you played against them. I didn't.
It's not like they're doing that now. So I think this game is over. I don't think they're the number 3 team in the country. I think they're a top 10 team. I don't think they're the number 3 team. So I think that's a little bit overblown. And that's my personal opinion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know people don't want to hear this. I know people is excited for this game. But if they beat the Buckeyes, I'll be shocked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be.
What's the spread on the game? Ohio State by 3 or something?
Yeah, I think. Hold on, let me look. I think when I looked at earlier today, it was 3. It is. Yep, Ohio State -3. I lay them points all day long. Did you know Ohio State is 21 of 22 in touchdowns in the red zones? Did you know that?
21 of 22. That's so what? Yeah, man.
They've been to the red zone a total of 22 times. Out of the 22 times, they scored a touchdown 21 times. They kicked 1 field goal. And I said that, but don't get me wrong. like Oregon ain't that bad. I mean, they threw them two picks.
No.
They threw them two picks the last against Michigan State, but I had my producer from the Big Ten look that up and send it to me. Oregon has been to the red zone 21 times. They scored 15 touchdowns and kicked 3 field goals. So both teams is this game really could come down to somebody kicking a field goal opposed to scoring a touchdown in the red zone. That's how good this game is.
You said the spread right? 3.5?
3. Just 3.
Okay. Must have started. I think it opened at 3.5. It's 3 now. You're right. The total's 53. I mean, dude, if you think it's that easy of a game,
I do.
Why not throw down 20 G's on it, bro? I'm just saying, you could buy some J's.
I'm sorry. I just you don't think so? You really you got doubt? Do you have doubt?
I have doubt. Yes, I have doubt.
You got doubt for real? Like
for real.
If I wanted to put 20, first of all, I don't know if I can or cannot do that due to the fact that I work for the Big Ten. I don't know if I can.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if you do, don't tell anybody.
So that's the thing. That's the thing right there. So I don't know if I can or cannot. They never told me I couldn't, so I would imagine I probably could. But I just like I know like people gonna be in the chat. Like I know I can't be the only one that feel this way. Like I just not yet. Like they're not there yet. They just to me not there yet. I imagine they will be with the recruits they getting because Phil Knight has opened up a checkbook and said whatever, just send me the bill. And that's how they getting a lot of these recruits. I mean, they got, I think in this next year class, they got like one of the top corners, the top receiver, a top running back, a good quarterback. So they're doing some recruiting over there and they will be a really good team eventually. I just don't think they're there yet. And I just think they're a little bit overhyped, my personal opinion.
Well, listen, I certainly hope that you're correct in that assessment. I just know because that team, they're really good at home. Did you know they've won 11 straight games at Autzen Stadium in a row, including, their last game against the Big Ten team, which was last year against Michigan State. Not that that's a huge win or whatever, but I don't know, dude.
I tell you what, I talked to my buddy Richard Sherman.
Yeah,
he actually played at Stanford, so he played Oregon all the time in the Pac-12, and he tells me that I got this all wrong. He said that playing at that stadium is really difficult to win at that stadium, blah, blah, blah. And my response to him and my response to anybody that says any place is hard to play at, I would tell you, if you go in there and you start fast, you will sit that crowd down and you won't have to worry about none of that stuff they got going on. So there you go, which has been the problem for Ohio State. But this is a time. And then everybody's trying to make the story about Chip Kelly going back to Oregon. I kind of think that is played down now because the dude was just at UCLA, so he went at Oregon all the time. That doesn't. Now this is the first time he going to Oregon with some dudes. I'll tell you that. But when they asked him about it, he said, he don't even think about that. He said he is more.
Of course, he thinks about it. Come on, man. You're telling me that he's not going back into the place where he played or coached and developed this amazing system that he doesn't care about it?
It's not like he got fired. He left.
No, but he did leave, and he's going back. And what he left when he was there, well, I understand, but no one cared about UCLA. They care more about Ohio State. Now he's got some horses, and they want to see, and he wants to show.
You think if he could, you think he put 70 up there?
I think any week you'd say, "Can I put 70 up?" Yes, I'll take the 70 points. But to your point, yeah, he's trying to make the offense look really good. The fans there have not had an offense quite like the offense he had when he was there, and so you show the world. It's primetime game. You have an opportunity to go out there and really play well on the road in a very hostile environment against a really good defense that only gives up at home 160 yards a game passing. So like Will Howard's going to have to do a lot in this game because if he can't make the plays because there's tight coverage or the pass rush is there, like he's going to have to be able to scramble and take off and go at times when the Buckeyes need to get a first down. And that's what you're going to have to win a game like this. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, man. Special teams. We don't talk enough special teams on this podcast.
Well, that's funny you bring that up because they've had the guy who Jordan Hancock has to, which I think is the big key matchup, Jordan Hancock versus Tez Johnson, their slot. That he's also their return, man. He took one to the house. Listen, if they let him get going, he could become a problem. I'm gonna just say that. But I don't see it. I don't. I could be wrong. We could do this next week, and I could be eating my words. But
I don't think Ohio State's going to lose the game. We're going to make our predictions here shortly, but I think they're going to win. But I'm telling you, I don't think for a second any of us should be surprised if this is a one-score game or a tie game, like mid to late fourth quarter.
No, I will not accept that. I'm not gonna lie to you. They'll be up by 21 going into the fourth quarter, and we'll be talking. They might let them score another. It's a 14-point game. It is. And when it happens, just everybody just be like, you know what, Tyvus, you need to be on ESPN or Fox 1 or something like that because you called this, and I'll be like, just look at the tape.
Be like, hey, you got my phone number?
Do you trust Will Howard? That's the question. Like because some of the picks he's thrown, I've been like, what are you doing?
Do I trust him?
Because we haven't seen him. We don't know. And I think
I think that's fair, but I mean, I guess I trust Ryan Day more. And
did you trust Ryan Day with Kyle McCord?
I don't think Kyle McCord's that good.
They tearing it up in Syracuse.
Okay, he's playing at Syracuse.
What's that supposed to be?
He's not playing in the Big Ten.
So some of the passes he's made, I've been like, all right, he look good. That's just saying, he look good.
He's made some plays. Okay, I mean, he's not a terrible quarterback. I think he just doesn't meet the expectation standards, if you will.
I mean, clearly they ran him out of town. Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, let's hear what you got. Let me hear your
for scores.
Yeah, let's hear it. Do the Buckeyes cover? That's the question. Do the Buckeyes cover? It's only 3 points.
I would say no. They're not going to cover, but they're going to win. 31-30 on a last-second field goal. How about that?
Dustin, you have officially lost your mind.
Well, first off, I haven't lost my mind yet.
31-30, and they win on a last-second field goal.
Why not? This is prediction time.
You know
man.
what?
Like
Vegas
instead of hurting your nuts there, step off the fence and make a prediction that's bold, man.
Vegas got you scared. It is sad. I never thought that I would hear you say that. It's going to be 42-24 Buckeyes. That's what I'm going to say. 42-24 Buckeyes. And they will be ranked the number 1 team next week.
Well, I think they are.
Yeah, well, I guess Texas is playing Oklahoma, so I guess that would be a quality win if they win that game, which they should.
Mm-hmm.
With all the upsets happened already. They was last week. If the Buckeyes was gonna be upset, it should have happened like last week. Back in that wild week. They missed the opportunity's been missed to be upset. So you gotta just go ahead and go with this thing.
So what you say your score is? 40 what?
42-24. Everybody gonna be in the comment section. They in the comment sections like, yes, I agree with you 1,000%. Just tell you.
Okay. Well, I like the attitude. I just think it's going to be a very tight ball game, and Ohio
Wait a
State fans
minute.
should.
You
What's
don't.
up?
Hey, you're the one that told me good teams win, but great teams.
Yeah, dude. You're jamming me up here about something I was just making a joke about. Like I don't know that really matters. I mean, it matters to your bank account, but I don't think it matters at the end of the day. Just get the dub, man. Get
20
get the win. Go be the #1 team in the nation. You know.
Well, with that being said, I'm laying 20 G's down on it. And
Money line, baby. Don't take the spread.
No,
take the money line.
The money line ain't gonna pay as good as me dropping the spread. So
I 160 to win 100.
I might alternate spread this thing and put it at 14. 20 G's, Buckeyes win 14 or better.
That would probably pay out quite a bit.
I
don't think it's probably like I could probably find that out quickly. Yeah, me intrigued now. Shoot.
Alternate spread line, Buckeyes, 14 points, 20 bands on it. No, not 20. That's ridiculous.
20.
500 on it. Now.
Hold on. I got the alternate spreads. I just got to find
I call off work for a month.
All right. So you think Ohio State? Hold on. All right. So Ohio State minus 14.5. It's actually not even juicy enough that I would take it. It's plus 250.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not worth it at all. I ain't doing that. I keep my. No, that's why. That's because they know I'm right. That's what that tells me everything I need to know. They know I'm right. With that being said, I'm gonna be right Saturday. Make sure y'all leave comments. Comment y'all scores and predictions of what y'all think. We'll get at y'all next week. Peace.